big brothers, big sisters to unlock the incredible potential of our youth. And guess what? You don't have to change your life to inspire a child. You just need to bring them along with you. In 4 to 6 hours a month, you can make an impact that will last a lifetime. Whether it's a trip to the park, sharing your hobbies, or simply walk around the neighborhood, it's about creating experiences and having fun together. We often hear our mentors say, "I get to be a kid again, and I get so much more out of this relationship than he does." Imagine the joy you can bring. Don't wait. Raise your hand today and be the difference in a child's life. Join forces with Biggs at bigsupnorth.org.
It's time for the Northern Michigan High School Sports Scoreboard Show on Up North Sports Radio with your host, Rich Calkins.
Time for the Northern Michigan Scoreboard Show, brought to you by Sarah Ford of Gaylord and Sarah Ford Chrysler Jeep Dodge and Ram in Kalkaska. Start your stress-free car shopping experience when you search Sarah Kalkaska and Sarah Gaylord. Rich Calkins and Jerry Coyne in studio with you this morning. JC, the Patriot game, we've covered it the last 4 years, and once again, it did not disappoint.
No, it lived up to the hype, Rich. You couldn't have had better weather.
Oh, it's amazing.
I mean, that was by far and away the biggest crowd we've seen for the – it's always a busy game, but, I mean, there was no seats available.
No seats available, standing room or around the edges of the stadium.
Yeah,
phenomenal.
More food trucks than ever, you know. And the weather, a dream day.
Dream.
Yeah.
Late October, you never know what you're going to get, but it was all coming up.
I thought it was going to be windy, and it really wasn't. Wind did not affect the game very much.
It died down early on. It was blowing, but it calmed right down. It's just a phenomenal night.
Yeah, both teams played really, really hard.
Sure.
It just kind of worked out that it was obvious by the end of the game that TC West was a little better than Central across the board,
right.
Man for man. When a play had to be made, West made a few more plays than Central.
Exactly. And West with that kind of bend but don't break defense.
Yeah.
The Central got down inside the red zone a couple times.
Yep.
Came away with no points because the West defense stood tall and did exactly what they needed to do to keep them out of the end zone.
Yeah, it's the one thing about high school football, it's just really not a question unless you have a field goal kicker like Gaylord had a few years ago. You just don't kick field goals.
Oh, you don't.
You don't.
I mean, one game in Northern Michigan last night, Boyne City, who has a really good field goal kicker, won the game for them against Traverse City St. Francis.
Well, there you go.
A last-second field goal. They tried a 44-yarder at just a little while prior to that, missed it, but the senior kicker, came back and redeemed himself with a 23 or 24-yard field goal to win the game.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the outside area that coaches in high school will kick.
Yes.
If it's under 30 yards, we'll go ahead and give it a shot. But and we will talk to Coach Sugars a little bit about that. I am going to ask him that question, but that was the difference.
Yeah,
I mean,
sure. Yeah,
I mean, in the NFL, they trot you out from 50.
Yeah, that's exactly.
It's a chip shot.
And nowadays,
we're running the clock down.
Yes, exactly. We don't care about gaining more yards because we're confident in our guys. Like you said, 50 is the new 30 now.
Yeah.
So it is just crazy.
I mean, I remember as a kid growing up when Tom Dempsey kicked that field goal against the Lions. Alex Karras, the guys on the line were doubled over in laughter.
Right, exactly.
I mean, Joe Schmidt, I've talked to Joe Schmidt about the late, great Joe Schmidt. He goes, we didn't know. He goes, are they out of their minds?
Right, exactly.
You got a better chance of making the Hail Mary.
I'm out with my dad trail riding, listening to that game on the radio, and they like you said, they bring out Tom Dempsey with a half a foot, by the way. And
it did have a steel toe in
yes, he did, yeah. Filled with dynamite in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Straight on kicker back then. He boomed it.
But you'd think with all the soccer and everything else that you'd have a little bit better kicking. And I know that, kids, if you follow college recruiting, these guys are recruiting kids to kick field goals. Right. It was a great football game. but it even leaves that that possibility is kind of erased.
Yeah.
So you and JJ were talking about they're going to go for it here. You know, if you're on your side of 50, you're not punting.
No, exactly. No, you go for it now pretty much all the time on your side of the field because, again, you don't know how many times you're going to be on the opponent's side of the field, for one thing. And when you don't have a kicker with an automatic 3 points, you got to go for it every time to try to move the chains or get into the end zone.
Yeah, and but the play of the game was really that safety.
It was.
Yeah.
Yes, it really was. It turned everything because it was a tie ball game, and remember Central made West re-kick that because it was a penalty.
Yeah.
So we thought, well, Central thought, no way they're going to pit it inside the 10 again.
They didn't. They pit it inside the 2.
Yeah, it's just like, oh my gosh, this is amazing.
Yeah, that was karma.
It was.
Yeah.
Just great special teams by West.
That's
unbelievable.
That's the Esper kid that was the
is.
punter.
Once again, it just doesn't matter. Whatever he does turns to gold.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just an amazing young man. So.
But kudos to both teams. It was a really well played game, and it's kind of sad that you watch the real disappointment on some of those Central kids, especially the seniors.
Right.
You lose 2 in a row. It's a tough pill to swallow.
It is. And I know Coach Shiggers, he's the kind of guy that never makes excuses.
No.
But they've had, talking to some non-biased fans, they had cluster injuries in their running back room this year. They lost 3 running backs early. And it just is, when you're a running team, you lose your main horses, and starting a sophomore quarterback. Yeah. So you just, going through some growing pains, and but again, Coach Shiggers, when we talk to him, again, no excuses.
Yeah, no, and West deserved to win. They bottled them up in a lot of different areas. They gave up, a couple of really big plays.
They did.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Goodwin kid is the real deal at receiver. He's the speedster. I mean, he's a long strider, and he gets by you in a hurry. Well,
but the other end of that is the quarterback had trouble getting him the ball. There was a couple of areas where he was open.
Right.
That would have been, could have been 6 points.
And the thing is, when you match up that sophomore quarterback, senior receiver, they haven't spent a whole lot of time together throwing to each other because of the age differences and stuff. So.
He had Esper beat on a couple of patterns.
He did. He had the angle, man. We could see it from the booth. We
Ball
could see
thrown
it
behind.
develop, and it's like, oh no.
Yeah, the one that could have easily been a touchdown pass thrown behind him. There's no way for him to get it. But it was a great football game, and of course, the student interaction.
I know it. Isn't it phenomenal?
Open our campus. We have open campus.
Yeah, exactly. We had to have James Cook again from the Record Eagle explain that to us. What's this all about?
Yeah.
Central's got
Thank you for explaining it.
Yes, exactly. So we understand.
Yeah, the traffic was so bad when I got out of the airport. I just we have great coverage. I'm just going to go home and watch the game. And as I was telling you before we went on the air, Donald Trump was really late. Kevin Klein, who's the director of the airport, his son plays on the team.
Yes.
He was bemoaning to me a couple of days ago that I can't go to the game, I got to wait here. But luckily they pulled up your broadcast on Facebook in the airport command center.
Is that right? Oh, that's awesome. I love it.
So, and as we were talking, if you, I think it's still, I got to ask JJ how we post that game. I believe you can go back and watch the whole thing.
Yes, you can.
But the interaction of the fans throughout the game on Facebook was really cool. And just kudos to you guys. Well called game, very professionally called game. And another thing, the refs did a great job.
Yeah, they did. Absolutely. They made sure, early on, it was chippy.
Yep.
They set the tone and said, oh, no, we're not putting up with this all game long.
Yeah.
So they threw a couple of flags so the kids knew the boundaries.
Yeah.
So then it was just hard fought between the whistles, no more of the cheap stuff, and it just went on and moved along with the good
not a lot of flags thrown
Right.
after that.
We like that.
The game moved along. Something that's really starting to bug the hell out of me, especially in the NFL, is the huge amount of flags that are thrown. You can't do a series. It's just crazy.
Oh, it is.
they got to do something.
No flow to the game. It becomes uninteresting. It's just like, all right, stop.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But yeah, so I don't really have any bitches about the game across the board. It was great.
Good. Yeah, it was great. A fun night to do it, obviously. And of course, we do have our interview with head coach James Wagner here. Just ecstatic, of course, getting that 6th win on the season, and happy to talk about it here.
Okay, Rich, a little problem with this. Let me see if I can find where JJ may have loaded this.
Okay. All right. In the meantime here, let's talk about that, what has taken place here in that Saginaw Valley League. Most likely they're going to have 4 teams making it to the playoffs this year, with Midland winning the conference title with a perfect 6-0 record, 8-1 overall. And so that is going to be good. West going to be tied for second at 4-2 with Midland Dow, and then Mount Pleasant 3-3, 5-4 overall. So that is how that is going to shake out. And as JC and I were talking about, there's some scores obviously around the north that we were alluded to just a little bit ago. That Traverse City St. Francis and Boyne game was just an unbelievable game.
It's time now for the Coach's Corner, brought to you by Michigan Trailers. They've always focused on delivering excellent value and service to every customer. You'll always find the best value for your hard-earned money at MichiganTrailers.com. Now, Rich Calkins with Coach James Wagner.
All right, thank you, JJ. And Coach, back-to-back Patriot wins for you here at Traverse City West. Just talk about what this win means to you, James, and also to the whole team.
Yeah, I mean, just a unbelievable night, unbelievable game, a gritty game on both sides. I thought it was a very well-contested contest between two pretty evenly matched teams, and what a great finish for our team. I mean, I just felt like it was kind of the story of our season, right? We start off 7-0, and just like we were 3-0, and then they come back, and and we need to respond, and how are we going to finish? And these kids, they fought, and then they had to respond, and they stepped up and made some big plays down the stretch there, and we were able to execute down, when it mattered most down the stretch, and just so proud of these kids. I mean, they deserve all the credit in the world. My coaches did such a great job coaching and continuing to put these kids in the right position to have success, and it's a great deal. It's a big deal, and I'm super proud of these guys.
Yeah, Coach, going into the fourth quarter, it's tied up at 7 apiece.
Yep.
Then all you guys, the defense gets a big safety. According to our sources, both Carson Toothman and Jackson Gallagher in on that safety.
I had no idea who it was.
Okay, and I didn't either, but according to James Cook from the Traverse City Record Eagle, James said it was those two guys, so I believe that's a pretty good source. And then Drew Esper with the big touchdown reception from Owen Hendricks. What a catch.
What a catch.
In the corner there. And then a 2-yard run by Owen Hendricks just to seal the deal for more, just for good flavor.
The icing, icing on the cake there.
Gee, it was just an incredible finish to that contest.
Yeah, I thought, it's like we were getting matchups that we wanted on that drive, and we were kind of putting an unbalanced look at it, and we were getting Drew one-on-one, and we threw a slant to him for a big first down on a 2nd and 9 or a 3rd and 9, somewhere in there, and then they continued to put a one-on-one matchup against Drew, and we just said, let's take a shot over top. He's playing inside leverage. Let's throw a fade to him, see if he can get it, and you trust your big-time players in big-time games to go and make plays, and that's what Drew did. I mean, that kid is he's so poised and just so prepared mentally when his name is called, and I just am so impressed by him time and time again. And, it was an awesome throw by Owen, too, to put it in the right spot over top of the head there, and and then Owen we just called his number on that last drive the whole entire time down the field.
Right.
And
No exchanges, no nothing. Just going to run the ball with
ran
Owen.
the same play all the way down the field there, just different looks. And, man, it was a statement drive there for us to be able to punch it in. And, man, it feels good.
Because, and they had some explosive players. That Goodwin kid, number one, that kid's the real deal. He can run.
He's the fastest player on the field, no doubt about it. We knew that going in, and we got some pretty, good speed players on our team as well. But he's got speed, and he can definitely stretch the field, and he did it a couple different times. And my hat's off to him for making some plays. Definitely a great player. Yeah.
We got a few stats here and stuff. Ben does a nice job. Unofficially, Owen Hendricks, 21 carries, 116 yards, and a touchdown. The team rushed for 210 yards of rushing overall. Defense, 6 tackles for loss. Just once again, they only given up 7 points again.
Yeah.
Pretty much the bend. And the Central was in the red zone a couple times and walked away with no points.
A couple different times.
Yeah, that bend, but don't break the defense.
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, there was a couple of big stops down there, and they just, they get strong down there in the 10-yard line. They just kind of they stick their feet in the ground and don't give ground. And honestly, we practiced a different defense down there throughout the week, and all of a sudden, when we got down there, we just kept on running what we were running, and it worked out for us. So, really proud of the kids just responding and not overthinking stuff and just playing football down there. So,
yep. Coach, this is the time. So, looking again, won't know officially until Sunday night when MHSAA show comes out and announces all of the playoff players. It does, though, look like we're definitely going to make it, and looks like we're probably going to be heading towards the Muskegon area.
Sweet.
That's what it's kind of looking like unofficially. So, but again, we're getting extra games.
Yeah, getting extra games, and this is huge. I mean,
yes.
Being able to get into the playoffs and just being able to continue to play on. I mean, allowing these kids. I mean, that was our goal. That was the goal for these kids, is to be able to play in a postseason game and just throw our best out there and see what happens. And I think we're a dangerous team. We played Grand Blanc really, really well early on in the year, and held them to 7 points all the way through about 3 quarters. And I think put our kids out there, and they are a gritty team who plays with an attitude and a chip on their shoulders, and you just never know. You just never know, and you just take it 1 week at a time. And if we get in, which I hope we do. I mean, I think we are a playoff team. Whoever comes across our path, we're going to put our best out there and see what happens. I mean, I just am excited for these kids and excited for this win tonight. I mean, such a big victory for us, and just a great finish to the season from a response of losing 3 in a row and needing to step up. I'm telling you, it's like, hey, backs against the wall with this team, and it's like, you guys need to win out basically to make it, and look what they did. I mean, just hats off to those kids for sticking to it and being able to adjust. I mean, I'm so proud of them.
They really did show a lot of character. It would have been easy for them to fold that after that 3-game losing streak, because there were some tough losses. That Midland game by 1 yard, not getting a 2-point conversion in, and then the tough loss to Dow, and then it just was like, man, it was like they could have, but they bounced back. Win 3-4 in a row on the other end. So it's just man, it's just incredible the resiliency of this team and not losing their confidence.
And I mean, again, I think it's just the maturity of these kids, and just this is such a process-driven sport when it comes to development and when it comes to building culture and being able to simply put the time in the offseason to build the mindset that you need in order to finish game strong and finish season strong. I mean, those are the things that are standing out to me with these guys. And what a great way to cap off the season with a win here tonight.
Yeah, Coach, okay, it's time to give out some awards for tonight's contest.
Oh, man.
I know. We, JJ and I, we did not even discuss yet the Fox Motors Motivated Player of the Game. Tried to talk about it a little bit during the contest, but it was just so much action and so much fun going on, we didn't spend any other time thinking about it.
Sure. I think, honestly, there's 2 kids that just come to mind. I mean, how could you not think about Drew, and how can you not think about Owen Hendricks? I mean, both those kids, I mean, you got Owen, who just carried that drive, and Drew making the play in the end zone. I think, honestly, they're both deserving. I mean, the whole team's deserving. If I could give them all the Fox Motors play of the game, I mean, it was just a team win. I would love to do that.
JJ did bring that up. He said, "Do we have enough hoodies to give everyone?" I said, "We'd love to."
We'd love to. I know. Yeah. I mean, I give it to the senior. I mean, Owen Hendricks I don't know how I can't give it to him. He just called his name and he threw that touchdown pass, and I mean, just a phenomenal performance. I love the kid to death. I mean, he just is. We ask a lot of that kid, mentally, physically. I mean, he's just always bought in, and he's poised, and he makes plays, and
I tell you, he had in that first half, they were on him. That defense for Central was on him. I mean, he got sacked, and he just he bounced right back, and it came out with a great second half. Just phenomenal. So All right, so Drew Esper and also Owen Hendricks are our Fox Motors Motivated Player of the Game and our Jimmy John's Player of the Game.
Yeah,
so
great.
Congratulations to those guys. Coach, we'll be in touch this week, obviously, and we'll be talking about planning a trip.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, that sounds good. Let's do that.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Thanks for joining us.
As
James,
always,
go Titan.
Hey.
Very happy, James Wagner. Obviously, Coach was emotional. He was just so proud of this team again, how they rebounded from a 3-game losing streak in the middle of the season, and now on a 3-game winning streak. And just how they
3 and 3.
It was 3.
3 up, 3 down, 3 up.
Yes, exactly. So, and we're awaiting tomorrow night to find out officially where Central will or where West will be playing. And by prognostications, it does look like it's going to be Muskegon Mona Shores, and we will wait for them to.
Well, I got to imagine the way it balanced out. So I'm sure Mona Shores probably had a pretty good season.
Yes, they if they won last night, they would end their season at 8-1 with 71 playoff points, and so a formidable foe, that's for sure.
Mona Shores is a sports factory.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
A lot of good athletes have come through the rank and file.
I don't know how many state championships they won in hockey, but it's a lot.
It is. Yes, that's a big hockey school for sure. Yeah. So, okay, when we come back, we're going to have head coach of Traverse City Central, Eric Schiggers, joining us. You're listening to the Northern Michigan Scoreboard Show, brought to you by Sarah Ford of Gaylord and Sarah Ford Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram of Kalkaska.
Hi folks, Jim Jeffries for Michigan Trailers in Traverse City. It's summer sell-down savings time right now with up to $5,000 off the tremendous selection of trailers in stock and ready to roll. All prices are clearly marked on over 150 units. The best selection of utility trailers plus the best service, parts, and accessories, all at Michigan Trailers. See us today on US 31 South across from Menards, Traverse City, or visit us online at michigantrailer.com.
It's the final month for employee pricing on all Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram vehicles at Sarah Kalkaska. Everyone can take advantage of more than $13,000 off MSRP on in-stock 2025 Ram 1500s. Heavy-duty Rams are more than $10,000 off. And you'll get more than $8,500 off Jeep Grand Cherokees. The biggest discounts in years at Sarah Kalkaska. This is your last chance to cash in like an employee at your local Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram dealer, Sarah Kalkaska. They guarantee it.
It really is the flavor of the season. Oktoberfest at Trout Town in Kalkaska. Choose from chicken schnitzel or a sausage platter. Or choose them both with a combo. Add a Bavarian apple torte for dessert. Then pair it with a limited run of Sam Adams Oktoberfest. Saturdays from 4 till 10. It's a special menu at a special place. Get more at TroutTownTavern.com. Trouttown Tavern and Eatery for up north flavor.
The Traverse City Record Eagle supports WCMU Public Radio in Traverse City with Total Access Record Eagle subscriptions. Total Access means home delivery of the printed paper, plus on-demand access to local and breaking news and other community publications online or on the app. Find out more at record-eagle.com/subscriptions or call 231-946-2187. That's 231-946-2187. The Traverse City Record Eagle proudly serves 13 counties in northwestern Lower Michigan.
Hey, it's Anthony Bellino from Spin on Sports, Michigan Sports Talk Morning Show on the Great Voice Radio Network. Heard live weekday mornings from 6 to 9 right here on Up North Sports Radio 101.1 WGRY. Whether it's Tigers, Pistons, Red Wings, Lions, Michigan State, the Big Ten, the Mid-American Conference, all the headlines, all the stories, and always Michigan teams first. It's all right here on Spin on Sports, weekday mornings from 6 to 9 on the Great Voice Radio Network. Heard locally on Up North Sports Radio 101.1 WGRY.
Welcome back to the Northern Michigan Scoreboard Show, brought to you by Sarah Ford of Gaylord and Sarah Ford Chrysler Jeep Dodge and Ram of Kalkaska. Rich Calkins and Jerry Coyne in studio with you, and joining us now is the head coach from Traverse City Central, Eric Shiggers. And Coach, another wild and crazy Patriot game at Thurlby Field last night. You guys just came up on the short end of a 23-7 score.
Yeah, just proud of our kids for how they responded and kept fighting it down the end there. And sometimes in a great environment like that, we didn't do enough to get it done. And it's certainly heartbreaking on a Saturday morning. Yeah, and Coach, I know you're the kind of guy, you're never going to make excuses or anything like that, but talking to some of the people up in the press box last night, they were telling me about how, you guys have had some cluster injuries in certain areas, and one of those areas was the running back area, and so, when you lose that, when you're a running team and you've got to put in, lots of different people, and you're starting a sophomore quarterback, there's going to be a little bit of some growing pains going through some of that stuff. But again, I thought your kids played really hard all game long. Oh, you're absolutely right. We play a physical game, and there's going to be some injuries, and teams and coaches and staffs got to overcome that. And I thought that we did. It was just one of those scenarios where this year it bit us, and guess what? That happens sometimes. But you're exactly right. We had 8 games to overcome it, 8 games to improve and get better, and I thought that we did. And the kids that jumped in there stepped up, and I tell you, the kid that stepped up for us, Rutger Feeney, as a junior, he did a great job for us. So I'm just, proud to see that growth. Wish we were playing one more week, but that's not in the cards for us this year. So.
Yeah, Coach, defensively, you guys, in that first half, you were all over West quarterback there with a couple of big-time sacks. He has absolutely zero time to throw the ball.
Yeah, the last several weeks, our defense has really been stout, and I a lot of credit to Todd Tesser, our defensive coordinator, and we weren't afraid to move kids around either. It's like one of those seasons where we had a lot of kids that felt could contribute, and so week to week, we just kept, it's kind of like chess match and just kind of moving pieces around, and we finally, on the defensive side of the ball, I felt that we had a good mix of the guys, and it really showed last night. They settled into what we're doing in our scheme, and the kids played extremely hard, and
yeah, they did.
And I they played about as tough as they could have. To shut down West and keep them out of the end zone, and and I think sometimes West is a good football team, and sometimes your seniors matter too. When they have a lot of good seniors and guys that have played, and and those guys stepped up big yesterday. So.
Yeah, there's no doubt the effort was very evident on both sides of the ball, Coach. I know a couple of times you got into the red zone, couldn't come away with any points. Was there any thought to kicking field goals?
I'll tell you what, that's kind of been the debate. That's been tough for us all year.
Okay.
We have not been consistent. We didn't have a kicker. We had a great kicker last year, and they just decided not to kick this year. So that happens. So
yeah.
We worked at it, and you got to be confident in the kicking game to do it. Otherwise,
right.
Don't do it. So that's what we did. We just had to roll our dice with that all year. Yeah, believe me, I'd love to come away with points at the end of the first half there if we didn't, we didn't punch it in. There's a couple other scenarios. Yeah, you might put points on the board. It might be a different game, but everybody in the stands can say that. But guess what? They don't know our team. And,
right.
We should have that. So.
It just seems, like unless you have an outstanding kicker, unless it's inside the, like 20, 25 yards, that seems to be the typical area where coaches will maybe go for the field goal. And like you said, last year you did have a very effective kicking game. I didn't know that youngster decided just not to kick this year. So that's tough.
Yeah, it is, and it's, like you said, it's next man up, you know.
Right.
And the kids that kicked for us this year did a great job at extra points, and we probably kicked some shorter field goals, but in a big game like that, I felt like we had a chance to maybe punch it in at the end there and score a touchdown before half, and we didn't get it done, but we came back in the third quarter, tied it up, and we still had a chance. So, it's just one of those games where it's going to be tight. It's going to be tight, and it comes down to conversions of those chances. And they backed us up one time in the special teams. Special teams matter in all the games, but they had a punt that went dribbled down inside the almost 1 or 2 yard line.
Yeah.
We couldn't get out of our own end, and unfortunately they got a safety out of it, and that kind of flipped the game. Turned momentum in their favor. It
was hard to tell, even at the game, Coach. Was that a passing play that the safety was? Were you trying to pass there, or was it just a slow developing run play?
Yeah, I mean you're kind of a rollout, so it's got a run pass option there where if he's got space to take it and run, and so it's just they made a play and we didn't in that situation.
Yeah.
Right. Hey, Coach, a player that West had to always be aware of was your senior receiver, Scott Goodwin.
Yeah, like you said, you rely on your seniors in big games like that, and you try to get him the ball. And all season long, I felt like he got better, and he got more comfortable in his role there. And he showed up and shined last night and on the big stage. So I'm proud of him for that. Just wish we could keep going with him, but he's a kid. If he works hard, he'll have an opportunity to continue playing. Yeah.
And, Coach, you've got a kid on your roster that's on the all-name team, Brady Ripmaster. And that's a great football name, Coach.
Oh, yeah. We were talking about him in one of the plays he made last night.
Right.
He turns the corner and on a jet sweep and ran downhill. He's a tough kid. And so, like the kid you mentioned there and some other kids, we got a lot of those kids back. So
that's good.
For our juniors and sophomores that are playing, those guys hopefully remember the bad taste of losing that game, and hopefully that fuels them to want to get better in the offseason.
Coach, snap 9 years in a row that you guys have made it to the playoffs. Is that right?
Don't tell me about it, man.
No, that's a great run.
Oh,
I'm just.
Today. It is. Oh, it's been it's been 10 years in a row. So.
Wow. Okay.
Man. That's a model of consistency, Coach. That's applaud you on that.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate it, and that's a standard of ours in our program.
Mm-hmm.
The standard is to make the playoffs, and the other standard is try to win championships. And we haven't done that in a few years now. So that's motivation right there, if not anything.
So this being the last game of the year, Coach, I'll give you the opportunity to give a shout out to some of the kids that won't be returning. I know we just talked about Goodwin, but I know you'll have the football banquet, but it's always tough to take a look at some of those seniors' faces when they realize, in a game like that this is it.
Yeah, it is. I mean, those kids, that's the last time they'll probably put pads on, for most of them.
Right.
And what they mean to our program, what they've done. I mean, our program is about developing young men, and they're going to take lessons that are going to pay dividends way into the future, and I truly believe that. And so those seniors, today it's going to stink a little bit, and knowing that you lost your crosstown rival and all that, but and not making the playoffs is going to sting, but that's not going to define who these young men are in the long run. So, that's just it's a message we send them. Like, you guys are playing a game. The game's going to teach you a lot of things about being a young man and having discipline and being committed to something and being selfless, but being a part of this program means a lot for them, and they're always going to be a Trojan. And that's the message we said to them last night. Gave them a hug, and there's some tears, and man, those guys you'll miss.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Coach. But we always appreciate you sharing your thoughts with us, Coach. You're always gracious with your time, and we appreciate it here on the Scoreboard Show. And best of luck in the off season, and already looking forward to next year, Coach.
Yeah, me too, guys. And again, I appreciate what you guys do to continue to follow high school sports. And I know radio's a tough gig, but you guys continue to do it. And you could continue to follow high school sports and high school football, and that means a lot. So thank you.
Thank you, Coach. When you get a game like that, year in and year out with that kind of crowd, it makes it a little bit easier.
It sure does.
Yeah, no, it is a fun environment, you bet.
Yeah,
it
All
is.
right.
All right, Eric Schiggers from TC Central. Yep, just again,
10 years.
10 years in a row. That's amazing.
And, if they had won that game, it would have been interesting to see if they got in.
Right.
So, kudos to Coach. And like you said, no excuses made, but it's not an excuse, it's a reason.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
know.
Excuses are just kind of coming up with things on the whim. And reality hits you. You lose 3 of your top running backs, and you're starting a young sophomore quarterback. There's gonna be some issues.
It's not like college or pros.
Right.
When you say next man up.
Right.
When you say next man up to Gaylord St. Mary's, there's not a lot of men, and it's boys next boy up.
That's right.
So you got a sophomore quarterback in there, and a couple of offensive linemen who are, it will probably serve them well for next year. But he didn't mention how many seniors were actually hurt. That will, that the worst thing is, when you have a senior who's, been waiting his whole life to start and play on a big program, and they get hurt and their season is over.
Nothing worse.
There's no red shirting.
Yes. Nothing worse than seeing a senior on crutches or something on the sideline of their senior season. That's the worst.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
For sure. All right, when we come back, JC, we're a new coach to the show. Steve Spranger from Clare is going to be joining us. So we'll be talking to him. Runs a great program down there. Took it on the chin last night.
Yep, to a Petoskey team that has really big sights.
That's right, yeah. In a much bigger division, stepping up in play, but should be interesting for sure. Again, you're listening to the Northern Michigan Scoreboard Show, brought to you by Sarah Ford of Gaylord and Sarah Ford Chrysler Jeep Dodge of Ram of Kalkaska.
It's the final month for employee pricing on all Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram vehicles at Sarah Kalkaska. Everyone can take advantage of more than $13,000 off MSRP on in-stock 2025 Ram 1500s. Heavy-duty Rams are more than $10,000 off. And you'll get more than $8,500 off Jeep Grand Cherokees. The biggest discounts in years at Sarah Kalkaska. This is your last chance to cash in like an employee at your local Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram dealer, Sarah Kalkaska. They guarantee it.
The Traverse City Record Eagle supports WCMU Public Radio in Traverse City with Total Access Record Eagle subscriptions. Total Access means home delivery of the printed paper, plus on-demand access to local and breaking news and other community publications online or on the app. Find out more at record-eagle.com/subscriptions or call 231-946-2187. That's 231-946-2187. The Traverse City Record Eagle proudly serves 13 counties in northwestern Lower Michigan.
At Munson, our commitment is our promise.
The promise we make to our communities.
It's why we show up.
In the hard times
and the beautiful ones.
It's why we trek through storms.
And probably know you by name.
For over 100 years, we have been committed to care.
Committed to strong bones and healthy starts.
To helping hands and healing hearts.
We're committed to Northern Michigan.
And committed to you.
Learn more at munsonhealthcare.org/commitment.
Now, Bob has told this story once a year for at least 5 years. We could stop him, of course, but it's more fun to just smile and laugh and order another round. This is Room 94, Petoskey's newest tap room. Here you'll discover something for everyone, a crafted selection of the best beer and bourbon, an outdoor patio, and an amazing tavern-style menu. This is where great stories begin. Room 94, located at Odawa Casino, Petoskey.
Tune in to Up North Sports Radio for U of M football.
Brought to you in part by Gaylord Family Dentistry. They cater to cowards, so check them out at GaylordFamilyDentistry.com.
Up North Sports Radio, home of U of M football.
Welcome back to the Northern Michigan Scoreboard Show, brought to you by Sarah Ford of Gaylord and Sarah Ford Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram of Kalkaska. Rich Calkins and Jerry Coyne in studio with you. And joining us now, first-time member of the fraternity here, head coach Steve Spranger of Clare. And Steve, we appreciate you joining us here, and you've got quite a great program there with the Clare Pioneers. But last night, you stepped up in competition, a Division III team in Petoskey, and came up on the short end of a 42-21 score.
Yeah, we certainly did, but it's a game that's going to help prepare us, hopefully, for our postseason. So, I mean, we were excited for the challenge, and there's a lot of good things from the game last night. Obviously, a few things that we would have liked to have go a little bit differently, but certainly things that we can build on and improve on going into the postseason. And Petoskey's got the makings of a team that's setting up to make a run. So I'm excited to watch them from afar too, to see what they can do in Division III.
Yeah, Coach, and I tell you what, that conference now of yours in the Jack Pine, the Division I conference, that's no easy task at all. Now with Ogama Heights in there, you guys, you go, of course, your friend Mark Jarsfer at Gladwin, Standish Sterling at 6-3. Unbelievable the depth and quality of that conference.
Yeah, I mean, going into it, we took a step back and like, man, this is certainly a gauntlet. And when the schedule was announced, and we were looking at Gladwin, Ogama, and then Standish, and I mean those 3 games alone. I mean that's a playoff run in itself.
Yeah,
so,
yes, it is.
It's exciting for all of us, and we're certainly excited to see how it's going to prepare us for the postseason.
Yeah, and Coach, and you won. Like you said, you played those guys all back to back to back. Gladwin, Ogama, and Standish. You won 2 out of 3 of those. That's a pretty good stretch.
Yeah, and they were all one-possession games as well. Against Gladwin, we had to drive 99 yards in under 2 minutes to win that one. And then Ogama, it was a back-and-forth game, but we turned it over on downs going in around our 35, 40-yard line. And then Standish, we were down 2 scores in the fourth quarter and came back and won that game. So really tested the resolve of our guys, and they're going to continue to battle no matter what the circumstances are. So it's something that we can always look back on no matter the situation and say, hey, we've been here before, let's continue to battle. And I'm excited that the guys have that experience to fall back on.
Coach, since we haven't had you on before, tell us a little bit about the team and some of the players that really have been the linchpin for your success.
I mean, high school football starts and ends with the quarterback a lot of times, and we got a really good one. Jaden Arthur, he's a 3-year starter for us. Has completely transformed his game. His sophomore year when he came in, he only had 8 touchdown passes all year. He was more of a running threat. We were under center a lot, 2-back offense, and now this year we're spread. He's all gone, and he set the single season touchdown passing record, and he's almost able to set the career passing touchdown record as well. So just seeing that transition for him from a sophomore to a senior, and all the work paying off for him, and he's awesome for us. And then Ryan Lauch is a 3-year starter for us as well. An absolute dynamite athlete in any sport that he plays. He's a tremendous baseball player. Football, he's a returning all-state specialist. He's a threat to take it to the house anytime he touches the ball. And then we have a senior running back, Aiden Van Bond, who's been doing a lot of good things. I think he's on 3 straight games of over 100 yards rushing. And then we have a junior wideout who just had his 12th touchdown reception last night. So a lot of good pieces all over the place on offense, and then defensively, 3-year starter Chase Randall is doing a lot of defensive end for us, and then a couple of the guys that I've already mentioned on offense also doing it on defense for us, and that's Division V football playing both ways. So a lot of 3-year varsity players that are getting us a lot of great reps, and then the younger guys that we've pieced around them have been doing a great job as well.
Yeah. Hey, Coach, you guys are going to be going to the playoffs with that 7-2 record, and it looks like in that similar district that you guys, with Kingsford possibly, Gladwin and Ogama Heights, a lot of familiar foes in there if that's how it shakes out.
Yeah, and I mean, we kind of knew that was a possibility when we found out we were all in the same division, and ideally you wouldn't like to have 3 teams from your conference in the same district, especially 3 quality teams that could have the ability to make a run. It's a shame that only one of us have the ability to maybe win a district.
Yes.
But you got to beat the teams that are in the Division 5, and then it's looking like a district of 4 really quality teams. So whoever comes out on top, they've earned it.
Right. Now, Coach, are you guys going to get together for a watch party?
Yeah, so our longtime legendary coach, Kelly Luplo, that I took over for,
yes,
he started a tradition called the Cookie Bowl. So it's basically like a pickup football game, 2-hand touch. We invite our water boys and other youth in the community, and
right,
and they get to play with the varsity guys on our field, and it's a lot of fun, and they get to run around, and it's good for our guys too to kind of get the soreness out as they're jogging around on the field. It's nothing too strenuous, and then we'll obviously get together and watch the selection show, and then as a staff we'll work till the wee hours in the morning and start developing our game plan.
Yeah. Now, Coach, what was it like following a legend like Coach Luplo? Were you on the staff with him?
Yeah, I was. Yeah. So I've been his water boy since I was about 6 or 7. So I was his water boy. I played for him. I coached for him for a lot of years, and he's like a father figure to me. And I can't say enough good things about what he's done for our program, for our school, for the community, and what he's done for me personally as well. So it's certainly exciting. Obviously, he's a big presence in our community. So just having that, his backing, his commitment, and saying like, yeah, I have all the faith in the world in Coach Spranger, really meant a lot. And I can't say enough good things about Loops.
Well, Coach, we'll keep an eye on how things are going, and a win or two later on, hopefully have you back on the show this season.
Yeah, certainly. Thanks for having me, guys.
All right, thanks. Head coach from Clare, the Pioneers, Steve Spranger, doing a great job continuing that rich tradition that Clare has been going on for years.
Yeah, the Pioneers have been stalwarts.
Yeah. At Mid-Michigan area, you can always count on the green and white of the Clare Pioneers. It always
seems like there's like 3 kids from Clare on CMU's teams.
Yes, exactly. No, they've done a really nice job down there, and I got to see them firsthand when Tom McCord and I were covering Grayling. We'd go down for scrimmages down there and watch them firsthand, and watch them how they work out and prepare and what they work on during these scrimmages, and it was impressive for sure. So they're doing a great job. All right. So, JC, when we come back, we're going to talk to head coach Kevin O'Connell from Gaylord St. Mary's. Took it on the chin against a very good Inland Lakes team, but Kevin, he'll give us his thoughts into that game and moving forward here in the playoffs. You're listening to the Northern Michigan Scoreboard Show, brought to you by Sarah Ford Gaylord and Sarah Ford Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram of Kalkaska.
It's the final month for employee pricing on all Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram vehicles at Sarah Kalkaska. Everyone can take advantage of more than $13,000 off MSRP on in-stock 2025 Ram 1500s. Heavy-duty Rams are more than $10,000 off. And you'll get more than $8,500 off Jeep Grand Cherokees. The biggest discounts in years at Sarah Kalkaska. This is your last chance to cash in like an employee at your local Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram dealer, Sarah Kalkaska. They guarantee it.
Sports fans, check out UpNorthSportsRadio.com for all your Detroit sports action. Get full schedules for the Wings, Pistons, Tigers, Lions, and U of M football. Catch Friday Face-Off live and hit the links with JC on episodes of Finding Fairways. Our high school sports guru, Rich Calkins, hosts the High School Scoreboard Show. And don't miss Traverse City West Titan football and boys basketball action. Catch games live or see past episodes on the podcast page. Real sports fans, go to UpNorthSportsRadio.com.
There are so many wonderful things about fall in northern Michigan. Football, autumn colors, and the return of the fall favorites at Benetham's, like chicken morel pasta and Salzburg schnitzel. Visit Benetham's.com and make your reservation. Benetham's, for the true love of food.
With the changing of the leaves, it's time to start looking ahead to the busy holiday shopping season. This is Tanya Christensen. General Sales Manager here at Blarney Stone Broadcasting. The difference between a good holiday season and a great holiday season is planning. Right now is the best time to start getting the ear of thousands of potential customers. The right marketing campaign, partnered with the right message, can and will bring results. Because when it comes right down to it, it's not about how much you invest, but what your return on investment is. We can work with any size budget, large or small, and will assist you in crafting the right message to drive customers to your products and services. To get started, call 989-348-6171 and discover why Q100 Michigan has been voted the Traverse City Record Eagles simply the best radio station for the second year in a row. Together, we'll make this the best year ever.
Tune into Up North Sports Radio for U of M football.
Brought to you in part by H&R Block of Mayo, year-round tax services, bookkeeping services, and more. hrblock.com.
WGRY, Up North Sports Radio.
Welcome back to the Northern Michigan Scoreboard Show, brought to you by Sarah Ford of Gaylord and Sarah Ford Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram of Kalkaska. Rich Calkins and Jerry Coyne in studio with you. And joining us on the phone now, head coach of the Gaylord St. Mary's Snowbirds, Kevin O'Connell. Kevin, the big game against Inland Lakes last night, and found out firsthand how powerful Inland Lakes is with coming up on the 50-8, the short end of that.
Yeah, well, it's not as if we didn't know they were good.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, I think they're better than they were last year. They're just very dynamic, big, physical, fast. So we knew we were getting in for, and I thought we were very well prepared, to be honest with you. You know, here's the deal. Defensively, we took away a lot of what they love to do, the double tight stuff. They went double plug and wing, and we took care of the wing, but we didn't have an answer. And, you know, kudos to them. I mean, as soon as they go doubles or trips open or any of their empty stuff, you know, our box is not athletic enough to defend Fenstermaker in space, and they exploited it, and kudos to them. I mean, that kid, you can't quick, fast, and in space you can't catch him, and, you know, kudos to them. I thought offensively we moved the ball pretty well.
Yeah, it sounded like you did,
half,
Coach.
We were up 8-6 or 22-8 at half. And,
yep.
You know, like anything else, we got punched in the face. Hogan went down, our quarterback, with an injury, and you know, say what you want. You know, anytime your quarterback goes down, the wheels come off pretty quick. So
right.
Well, yeah, especially with a few of the injuries that you already had coming in, Coach. Yeah, losing the quarterback. Rich and I were talking about this. You always like to say next man up. Well, sometimes it's next boy up, and and it's not like college or pro where you've got guys on the sidelines that are itching to get in there, and especially at St. Mary's, you're like, well, do we have a dog on the sidelines that maybe can make a tackle or something?
You must be in my brain, because it's like, oh, that next man up mentality. Talk about a coaching cliche, you know. You know, 3 5-star recruits waiting on the bench to make their, you know, they're going to red shirt, gray shirt, or get their final shot, you know.
Yep.
I got 3 freshmen on the bench that are shivering cold going, don't put me in, I'm freezing. Hey, I don't want to go out there and get lit up, you know.
Yeah.
You know, it's a different world.
It is a different world.
Yep. Hey, Kevin, the good news is you don't have to face Inland Lakes again. They're a Division I school in the 8-man game, so that's good. But, you know, potentially you're going to match up against teams like Crystal Falls, Forest Park, Bel Air, and Powers North Central. Seem to be like the district you're going to fit in.
Yeah, the way the numbers, I'm not a numbers guy, but somebody texted me this morning saying Powers beat Crystal Falls, and Crystal Falls was
undefeated.
Not number one.
Yeah.
Crystal Falls was ranked number 1 in the state. Not by points, but they're ranked number 1. Powers beat them like 45-38, something like that.
Okay.
So even with that win over them, Crystal Falls will still be a number 1 seed.
Okay.
And we're going to get Powers. So we're going to travel to Powers next Saturday and see what we can do.
Where the hell is Powers? Is that in the UP?
Go to Escanaba and then go west about 35 miles.
Okay, all right, that's fair.
Yep, there's just a conglomerate of those West Side UP teams, and they almost all end up in the playoffs.
I don't know, when did Crystal Falls go to 8-man? I remember, when I was in high school before electricity, that was they went to the state championship in like 76. That's been a football powerhouse off and on for a long time.
Much like some of those communities that are shrinking up there, Crystal Falls had a difficult time going to 8-man because of the stigma attached.
Sure. Right.
No different than Ishpeming this past year. I mean, Ishpeming. They hang, as I said, they hang more banners in their gym than we have steps in our weight room. So, it's like, and they, it's like a very proud community that they're hanging state finals banners, and Crystal Falls is no different.
Right.
They had a down year last year, but they were all juniors. They're loaded this year. They're loaded, and I think they went about 4 years ago. So.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, that's good. Kev, what's the prognostication? Is the quarterback going to get healthy, or is this a more of a long-term issue?
I'll be honest with you, Rich, it was scary as hell.
Mm-hmm.
He was kind of having more of a panic attack, and we just really didn't know, and precautionary measures.
Sure.
He went off on a cart, but he went to the doctor. Everything seems to be good. Obviously, we're not going to beat him up too bad, but he went through all the protocols, CT scans, everything's negative, so he's healthy. Good. He just got the crap beat out of him. And
was it one particular hit, Coach, or was he getting knocked around throughout the whole game?
I think it was about 2 or 3 before, and then there was kind of a high snap and loose, and then I don't think it was a dirty hit, to be honest with you. I got to look at film, and I don't think it was, but I mean, he was a bang bang, and we always say he got lit up like a Christmas tree, and he got knocked out. We didn't get knocked out cold, but he got hit pretty good.
Right.
So.
But he did not.
Be healthy, but we're not going to. We're going to take it slow with him.
Sure.
So.
But it wasn't an actual concussion.
No.
Okay.
I mean, that was the concern that it was not an actual concussion. So we don't have to go through that protocol. But we're obviously probably not going to rep him until Wednesday just so he can heal up.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's and he's a junior or senior, Coach?
Hog's a senior. Yeah, we call him Hog. His name's Hogan McKinley, but he's affectionately known as Hog. So,
right.
Just, valedictorian 4.2 student, smart as a whip, just a great, outstanding
typical
kid.
St. Mary's kid.
Another St. Mary's kid. I told Rich a couple weeks ago, I'm like, it looks like he'd be on the golf team as opposed to the football team, but he's tough as nails, man. I wouldn't trade him for anybody, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I listened to that inane interview a couple weeks ago. It was just... horrible.
That's right. I think you were golfing.
Yeah, I was. But I was still tuned in. Coach, any of the kids? I know you've had a couple injuries. We've talked about this in the past. Any of those kids going to come back for the playoffs, or is that all closed off?
It's all closed off. Okay. All the injuries that we had are season-ending. We had a broken collarbone, ACL, MCL, broken neck. The neck was not football related, mind you, but all the injuries up until then were all season ending.
Just time to move to rugby, I think, Coach.
Let's get the scrum. Let's go. Get in the scrum.
I think that's with the leather. We get the leather shoulders.
Kevin, are you going to borrow Illinois' leather-looking helmet?
Yeah, those were
aren't those cool?
No, ugliest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, JC doesn't. I liked them. I personally liked them.
Michigan, whatever.
Okay, well, here's the real question: Navy, Notre Dame,
Irish. Yeah,
I mean, come on. There's a lot of gold on the field there, Coach.
That is a lot of gold. As much as I love Notre Dame, I love the veer. We run the veer. I've always been fascinated with the veer. And Navy runs it, but the sad part is Notre Dame has to play Army, who runs it even better in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So, here's on my bucket list is the Army-Navy game.
Right.
And then I looked up tickets, and they're not cheap. So
Nope.
I would love eventually to go to that game, and it's going to be outstanding this year. So I don't know. I think Navy is going to might surprise some people this Saturday.
Yeah, at the Meadowlands, going to be a very interesting game. A lot of Catholics in New York. It's going to be a crazy turnout. And then, but no, I don't know where the Army game is. No, that's at ND. So Army's coming to South Bend. But yeah, that's it's really cool to see the service. One of these service academies could easily end up in the playoffs, which would be absolutely stunning.
I agree with you. I think they rank number 1 or number 2 in the country as far as rushing offenses in the country. So,
yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah, that will be. This will be the biggest Army-Navy game. Like technically, they could play the week before.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah. If they only sustain 1 loss each, which it looks that way, Army should probably be undefeated when they play Notre Dame. If you play it out that way. But if they both only have 1 loss at the end of the year, those guys would play 2 games in a row.
Yeah. Yeah, that's wild for sure. All right, Kevin O'Connell, best of luck with whoever, again, if you match up against Powers or whatever the case may be. And you say it probably will be a Saturday game, Kev?
Oh, up there.
No, it'll definitely be a Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, best of luck, and appreciate you joining.
Appreciate it.
You bet.
Yeah. Hope to see you this afternoon, Coach. Thanks.
Yeah.
All right, take care.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Kevin O'Connell, Gaylord St. Mary's Snowbirds.
Yeah, it's he's just he's a different cat, but I love everything about him.
Oh, everything. Absolutely love the guy. Love the guy.
I spent a lot of time with Coach. The years that Joe played football for St. Mary's, and he's just the kid. His kids love him.
Yes. Oh, they're all in. They're
Yeah.
all in for him. You hear about, they would run through the wall for this coach and stuff. No, these guys would do that.
Yeah,
for
I don't
Kevin.
know. I don't know if the football program would exist without him.
Oh, his enthusiasm to absolutely do, and you see the transformation with the home field now and the different things, and that's because they have a super enthusiastic head coach that's willing to commit the time needed for them.
Yeah, the kids see this, coming up in JV and freshmen, and just how the camaraderie is.
Yes.
He's created the weightlifting team along with this, and he has the kids out at his home for. We didn't even ask him about selection, but I'm sure they'll be out at the cabin on Otsego Lake with a bowl of chili going on and watching that up. So pretty cool stuff.
No doubt about it. Again, that playoff selection show is early this year. Again, it's taking place at 4:30 on the newly named Fox or the FanDuel Sports.
Yeah, I love FanDuel being in high school sports.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I want to get the odds on the point spread and get a bet down on TC West against Mona Shores. There's a lot going on sports-wise here on Up North Sports Radio, Rich. So we're going to check out here in a second. The Red Wings will be on here at 1 o'clock against the Buffalo Sabres. And then at 6:30, you'll have the pregame for the Michigan State game that kicks off at 7:30. I will be at Alpine Tavern in downtown Gaylord. I think Coach O'Connell's going to be there for a 2-hour pregame show. I'll be broadcasting that live on Q100 Michigan, but we'd love to see you there. You can register to win Red Wing tickets. We'll have ski lift passes you can register to win. I'm going to have a crap ton of Q100 T-shirts for that. 25% off their legendary pizza and draft beers. It's going to be a great football game.
Oh, a great football game. There's great food, like you said, at Alpine Tavern.
TVs, the only place there's not a TV is in the men's room.
Yeah, exactly.
So you will not miss the coverage there. Wear your colors and come up and say hello. Love to see a lot of people that normally I see on the Q100 Michigan side, but it'd be nice to see some fans of what we do here on the High School Scoreboard Show.
Yeah, no doubt about it, JC. And then we'll be back next week at 10 o'clock, the playoff edition.
Playoffs? So we get a lot of teams that we cover are going to be in the playoffs.
They are. That's exactly
hey,
right.
Did Gladwin lost?
Lost, but they're good.
They're
going to get in with that schedule. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, they will be in for sure.
All right.
Be rewarded for that tough schedule. Thanks for joining us on the Northern Michigan Scoreboard Show, brought to you again by Sarah Ford of Gaylord and Sarah Ford Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram of Kalkaska.
This has been the Northern Michigan High School Sports Scoreboard Show, presented by Sarah Ford of Kalkaska and Gaylord for stress-free car shopping. Join us next Saturday at 10 with host Rich Calkins. Nobody loves high school sports like Up North Sports Radio.
I'm leaning towards Notre Dame in this one. Not a solid play for me either way, but I think this is a tough matchup for Navy.
How about a couple of the news items that have come trickling out today via Pete Thamel and some of the insiders? We found out that Auburn's Hugh Freeze is battling an illness, did not travel with the team yesterday to Kentucky, flying to Lexington this morning to coach the game. Like, how much does that change how you think about games? You know, those types of things that are hard to account for before kickoff.
Oh, losing your head coach, like if it was the NFL, like you have your guys and your game plans really set in, and you wouldn't worry so much about it. These head coaches in college football have so much influence on these teams. I'm a little concerned for Auburn in this spot, going up against a Kentucky team that has battled. Like, they've been inconsistent this year, obviously, but they almost beat Georgia. They obviously have that big win against Mississippi. They're playing at home. They can run the football very, very well. I know Auburn's decent at stopping the run, but I don't know. It's a tough spot to play without your head coach. I would say it's worth a couple of points to the line for sure.
Yeah, kind of going around. BYU is a team that, you know, is sitting here undefeated, coming kind of out of nowhere, potentially, you know, trying to make a run for the playoffs here, Andrew. And this has been a very fascinating game. It opens BYU -2, and it is flipped. I'm even seeing some threes now out there for UCF. I have found this UCF team incredibly difficult to back, but I can't argue, you know, the market movement here. Do you agree with it? Do you think Central Florida is the right side in this game?
I'm kind of like you. I'm off of Central Florida. I was heavily invested in them early in the season, and I was very confident that they were going to run all over Colorado when they played Colorado, and they did not, and it was disappointing. And I guess this is just a case where people just don't believe in this BYU team yet.
Right.
But I think they're actually really good in the trenches, like better than they'll be given credit for. I know the advanced numbers say that BYU can be run on, and this is a power rushing team from UCF, and I guess and they're at home, and that's obviously why you could explain this line move, but I think they're better in the trenches than they're getting given credit for. I might be looking at BYU on the money line on this one now.
You just mentioned Colorado. I mean, they are nationally relevant, even though they are not ranked high at this point. But I'm curious about what you feel about them. Last year, I kind of thought they were just a fraud, and it was a house of cards, and everyone talked about them because they were the Kardashians. They were famous for being famous. This year, it kind of feels like they're actually good at football, and they're 6.5-point favorites against Cincinnati. Where are you at on them?
They're a really, really interesting situation, right? Like, I think deservedly so. They talked themselves up so much last year, and everybody was like, okay, yeah, this is too much. And we've kind of carried it over into this year. And I watched them play that game against North Dakota State, and North Dakota got so much pressure on Shedeur Sanders. Well, Shedeur Sanders did his thing, like he stood in the pocket, got hit a bunch, threw the ball down the field, made some great plays. But like that offensive line, which I still think is a big issue for them moving forward, which kind of would, I think, hold them back when it comes to if I was willing to say like, hey, this is a team that could get to the Big 12 title game, and maybe they still can because the Big 12 is much more of a mess than I thought it was going to be. I was pretty I have some futures tickets on Utah, which I have since burned up at this point, and they stare at me so badly in my bankroll every day, every time I log on now. But the Cincinnati matchup is an interesting one. I'd like to see if Cincinnati gets faded a little more. Obviously, Colorado's still a pretty publicly backed team at this point, but Cincinnati's got some really good quarterback play, and I think they're kind of buying into that system there for Satterfield now. So I don't hate the underdogs. I'm not hating on Dion in this one, but I kind of like getting the points with Cincinnati in this matchup.
Yeah, I do think Prime's done a really good job, just generally from year one to year two. I was super skeptical, and man, he's definitely he's shown me quite a bit. As has Kurt Cignetti at Indiana. I mean, and he's letting you know. Google me. Google me. Yes.
Google me.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. Now, he doesn't have his starting quarterback this week, who's one of the best in college football. And appropriately, this number has come down to, I want to say, 5.5. Will it matter? How much of a drop-off do you think it is from work to the backup here, Andrew?
I think it's a pretty significant drop-off because that's just how good Rourke has been. But I still think this is a number that they can cover. I have enough faith because you talked about Cignetti, right? Like, I think he's one of the best coaches in college football, and he's gonna set. I can't even. Jackson, I think the backup's name is. He's gonna set him up with like a handful of plays. Like, these are the plays we work all week. We knew Rourke's gonna be all week. These are the plays we're gonna set him up to be successful with, and we're gonna go from there. We still have a really, really good running back duo in Lawton and Ellison. I am personally on Ellison over 57.5 rushing yards in this game. I think they can still be effective against a suspect Washington run defense. I believe they rank 62nd in defense success rate against the rush. And I'm not worried about them being one-dimensional either, because Washington's played back-to-back really one-dimensional offenses in Michigan and Iowa, and they've allowed nearly 400 yards rushing combined in those games. So I think Indiana can still be successful in this matchup at less than a touchdown. I think they still get the job done.
Andrew Cayley joining us on Countdown 2, senior betting analyst for Covers. How about take a peek at Mizzou and Alabama? Missouri's quarterback going to go via Pete Thamel. Alabama was on its way to the top of the rankings, it felt like, and has now fallen off. Now you got questions about, did they make the right hire? Where are we at with Alabama first as a program, big picture this year, and then this game? Do they cover? I believe it's 15.5 last check.
It's, as a program, I think you've got to give DeBoer a little bit of leeway here. He has proven that you get him in the second year of his program, and there seems to be an exponential leap in the development of his teams.